Welcome to this webinar of impact of venture capital, business angels investment in our industry and society. So a little bit of introduction of myself. Well, I think I have 15 years experience of innovation, and now with my role into the European Parliament, I was working with venture capital and business angels to understand the influence they can have into our society and industry, and how they are now thinking in this way of impact. And this was for me as well, together with other politicians, the trigger to say why this is important to discuss and how we can redefine impact to understand from not only to have fancy, skaters, scooters in the streets, like this makes sometimes what is the benefit for this, or what is the impact in our society, or only investing in delivery apps, like change our values in our society, and why we have to have 10, and why we have not to have more healthcare apps or systems, or more innovation in health and in education as well. It has to be a balance. So at Collabwith, because I took this topic into the Collabwith perspective, our objective is always to transform academics and entrepreneurs into super collaborators and super innovators. But for this now, it's important to understand the impact of this, and as well when you discuss with an investor. And in Collabwith, we have a holistic approach. So one, we have a technology, a digital tool, like digitalize and standardize the collaboration for innovation. Like you can get more academic and industry knowledge transfer and collaboration. But as well, we have this kind of methodologies and trainings. So today agenda, we will discuss about the future, what exactly means future, and how you can define the future for yourself. It's not about trends, it's what do you need and how to make it happen. The other is the innovation definition. It's very important because it's sometimes very misused. Then why the system of the finance system is broken and what we can do. Then we go to the investment canvas. So the typical questions all the investors ask before investing. And then the intersection between innovation, investment, and entrepreneurship. Why investment is important and when it's needed. And then we will discuss the integrated reporting for investment. So the question for you is like, if we have the power to define our future, how we will define it? And here for me is a very practical, structured way to define our future. Is to see the future as an intersection between what the startups are doing, what is happening in research, the challenge the other companies or your company has, and the needs you have in your own organization. And here is when you can have your own intersection of the future. It's not about trends. And maybe in Germany, it's much important to understand the zeitgeist, the point like, what is the mood of our society, what is happening? Because that's much more information, very useful. Like, the trending now is AI, last year it was blockchain, like this is only to remove from our what do really we need and what exactly we want to have in our future. So now is the question for you to reflect. Like this is interactive. You can explain your point of view, or what is the future for you and how are you currently preparing for the future? Peter, Ibrahim, Evaris, Christina.
So probably I can start. So at least the future for me is like, I think a little bit moving from just having like a shareholder point of view to having a stakeholder point of view, because we're currently living in a pandemic. And I think the future should be like more focusing on other things, social, ecological, and other kind of dimensions, and not just financial, I don't know, growth, things like that. So I think yeah, much more collaboration and understanding is needed.
Yeah, I think this is the point, because sometimes private equity in banks, when they invest more than 20 million, they only see and check the Excel. Even they don't see the industry. They don't do a Google search very simple about what they are doing in this company. And I think this has to change. So this is how we can train them for this mindset change completely. Yeah, Evaris, Christina, Asia, welcome. We are now in the future.
Thanks. Sorry, I was a bit late.
So what is the future for you? How are you currently preparing for the future? So maybe a little bit of introduction. The future we define as an intersection of what are the startups doing, research happening, the challenge the company they have, and the needs of your own organization. So how are you preparing, or you help the organizations to prepare for the future? It's a very difficult question.
Okay. Maybe I can say something briefly.
Yeah, Ibrahim. Yeah.
I think for me, what is the future has to do with the nice partners I've been able to build over the years to help me achieve some of the goals of my organization, and at the same time also trying to adjust to the situation, because now a lot of things have changed and we also have to change, and this requires us to learn some new skills and some new modes of operation. So it has to do with the right partners that will help me achieve some of all these goals. So this is one main area for me for the future.
Yeah. Okay, we can continue. So now, Evarist, yeah.
Yeah, okay. First of all, I agree with all your opinions. And so I'm trying to find something new which has not yet been spoken. Okay, future, according to my understanding, I'm seeing the future as resilience plus sustainability. Yeah, why? And that should be in why resilience, and it's because we have overexplored the resources, the available resources. So we have to make our ecosystems to recover their initial status, and then continue producing while maximizing the production. which will fit the overpopulation, which is today, and which is projected, the projected overpopulation. So to meet their needs, while not destroying resources.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, more balanced economy. I think more meaningful and thoughtful. Like really, we have to think in when we make decisions in our next 7 generations coming. Not only in a more selfish, no, until now. Yeah, that's very good, Evariste. So now we are going to clear definitions of innovation. Like sometimes there is I want to do this because it's everything investment is related to innovation. And we have to understand, you know, when everyone is saying, even in corporates, so if we have to invest in some prototypes or projects, this is not new enough, you know, or we have to create something new. So what exactly means innovation and new? That's super critical to make everyone in the same page. So innovation is generating value from creativity, which means you have an idea or an invention or something, whatever you want to have as a new product or service, and you bring it to the market. When you bring it to the market and people are using it and they receive this value of this new thing, this is innovation. Before this is not innovation. And that's why many people are misusing the word innovation. So it's very important to have a clear part. So to have an idea is not innovation, it's an idea. And this is, we are going to the next one is ideation. Ideation is the process to generate more ideas with or without a theme. So all the creativity, all the brainstormings, all the methodologies to have ideas is ideas. This is not innovation, okay? This is very important. From an idea, you can go to the long path until you make innovation happen, but when you have ideas, this is ideas only. So invention is when you create something, whatever is new, like it's not existing before. And this is invention. It's not innovation, this is invention. And invention is done mainly at universities and the research labs, sometimes in innovation labs, and sometimes in very rare cases inside organizations because they have to have the capacity to create something new, but only a few. So when we have startups, in this case of startups creating something new, well, we have to see where this is happening and how. But it's very important to differentiate invention from innovation. So innovation could be when this invention you bring into the market and the people are using it. So innovation is always bringing value. With creativity, could be from research, could be from any kind of people. So creativity, what is creativity? It's the quality to generate ideas or ways of doing things in a completely different way. So a researcher could be super creative because they have to think how we can research here, how we can do this, how, you know. And this is the creativity. It's not only creative people, you know, like they do graphic design, they are creative. No, everyone is creative. Everyone can think in a different ways of thinking, doing services, doing products, doing companies, doing research, whatever. This is creativity. And from my perspective, everyone is creative, you know? And then you can have ideas for anything because as you can know a theme, area, field, anything, you have a lot of knowledge. And from this knowledge, you can say, why not we do things in a different way? Why not we can have this solution here for this problem? And this is the part of how the creativity works. So now, I don't know if you have questions for this. Do you have questions here? Oh, the definitions? Yeah, Evarist.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm among those people who are having some confusion between
Okay.
innovation and invention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why am I saying this? We were applying on a call, application call, where they needed innovative ideas. So, but when we started discussing which idea are we going to apply as an innovation, when we started saying, proposing, suggesting our ideas, they told us, okay, for them the innovation is what they haven't yet funded.
Yeah.
So you get the point. So what has not yet been funded by them under their ecosystem. So
yeah.
That was the innovation. For me, I thought something else. Okay, for me, I thought the innovation would be for the beneficiaries.
Exactly. Yeah, very good, Evarist.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very good point, but because this is true. Even if you, but this is not about definitions, it's about the strategy they have when they are dealing with funding. So in one sense, you have, for instance, like in the new European Innovation Council, for instance, this is Innovation Council. And then you can say, okay, they will fund any kind of innovation to the market, but no, they have the strategy only to fund deep tech. So if you are a startup doing a super cool innovation, but it's not deep tech, you will not get funding. Why? Because they have the strategy from your perspective only to have innovations in the deep tech, or only green, digital, health, deep tech. And this is when it's coming the issue, like, well, what is happening with the other things? Maybe the society needs, but this has to be discussed before they make the strategy. In another calls, that's why it's very important when you are writing the call to read all the strategies, for instance, Erasmus Plus or other type of Next Generation EU or other funds, to understand the strategy behind. Because even if you have a very good project, if it's not matching the strategy, they will say, no, it's not now. There are as well other databases with funded projects before. So it will be super nice to check before you write the proposal if these similar projects exist already, because you can refer to them and have this argument in your proposal to say, okay, this project, they did this, but it was not working, or we are doing in a completely different way. Because the evaluator, they have not all these perspectives. They can say, we did this before. Yeah, but it was not working. We have a different perspective. So you have to contra-argument inside the proposal. But when you are writing proposals, it's very important to see all these kind of strategies if you want to win the proposal. And this is not about innovation or invention in philosophical or definition, academic definition. It's about the strategy behind the funding. Okay, very good question. Okay, so another point why the impact of investment in our society, I will take the example of the woman investment and the diversity investment, because now 98% of all the funding is going only to white men. And this is a problem. So you can see the system is broken. And then is why I put in the parliament this topic to say, okay, there is a problem here. The numbers are saying like we have a problem. Now we have to discover why and how to make solutions for this problem. So this is the is woman, but you can see woman diversity, any kind of like they have not statistics about color, religions, or countries. But if we see only this, you can see the other numbers are less. So only 2% of women startups receive funding, when we have 30% of women startups in the market. And as well, from investment perspective, only 0.5% of women-led venture capital or investors are women. They are much, if you want to have all the statistics in detail, so we are getting the details from the European Investment Bank reports and from the European Investment Fund reports, officially, not from other type of sources. I can share with you if you are interested, because they have more detailed information there. And this is all the activities to make this change happen, even in the Women's Rights Committee in the Parliament, because that's the only way when you use your voice to make a change. So I organized, it was 7 debates last year in the Parliament talking about this topic and bringing completely different experts and perspective and point of views, like from entrepreneurs, from venture capital, from investors, but as well from academia, talking about what exactly means diversity and what is the point of view we can have from other women organizations or funding organizations. And at the end, we clustered all the issues to solve with these 7 actions to balance the economy. So first, there is no data. So we have to get data about the statistics in real time. Where this investment, in which area they are investing, because even if you cannot believe, there is no data. And the questions to ask about the data, and if it's automatic data or you have to do surveys data, or this is important. So the other part is the co-responsibility for empowerment. So there is no, when you are investor or entrepreneur, there is no legislation to protect yourself in any case. So you have not social insurance, you have not parental leave, for instance, you have rights for nothing. If you are not working for an organization or a company, you have not rights, social rights. And this is very important to understand why there is a imbalance and inequality in the entrepreneurship and investment perspective, because you are not working at the same level like if you are working for an organization. And that is making much more difficult for the economy, like everyone can participate, you know, like here is a issue of gender, culture, diversity, but as well about social class, you know. So the other part is dare to dream, and it's the part to understand like everyone can do whatever they want to do. And this is now, if we see examples inside accelerators or funding, in the pictures, there is no diversity. It's only clear statement who is the successful person. It's only a man white. So this is the part to change, to create more role models, like everyone can be reflective, like I can apply to this accelerator, I can apply to this investment, I can apply to this grant, and as well thinking about color codes, type of messaging. So the other part is educate society, because even when you are going to a meeting as a woman or other not white man, they think, what are you doing here? You know, what is the person to have the meeting with the investor? So we have many qualitative comments and interviews, like there are as well a lot of sexual harassment, or when you are going to the public administration, they ask you if you are bringing the papers to create your company, they say, you have a paper on behalf of, if you are not a man white. So this is the problem, how we can educate society and create initiatives like women and other type of people who are not white men. They can have power, they can talk about finance, they can have their own companies, they can talk about business, they can talk about research and innovation, entrepreneurship, and they can see as that this is possible. No, like and as well the culture of respect for everyone. So this is very important if we want to have a balanced economy and opportunities for everyone. So the other point is networking and training, because there is a lack of knowledge of finance, about entrepreneurship, and to access to the networks and clubs, like they are very close. So it's how we can open all these networks for everyone to create a better impact, because if not, what we have is only one perspective into the market. All our innovations and all our startups, they have only one perspective of doing things, of solving problems. And that's why it's so important to open up to different type of thinkings and different perspectives of making solutions, of doing things, different ways of doing things. And this is the part of creativity. Accept what is innovation, is bringing value really from different ways of thinking. So, and the financial ecosystem is because it's not working now. So how to structure the system like is equal for everyone and accept innovation and creativity as it is, and completely from different perspectives. And the other part of the recovery fund is because now, as you see, there is a lot of funding. It's incredible opportunity of Next Generation EU, the Invest EU, the Erasmus Plus, the whole new Horizon Europe, the new funding going to venture capital. So here is why not we are using this properly to change how we are doing things, and the impact is not only economic impact, but it's as well, like you mentioned, sustainable, societal, industry in a very positive way. So you can download the report I can send to you after the webinar with more detailed explanation of all these actions. So now, like, we are all activists now here. How, from your perspective, from your position, what can you do to activate change even tomorrow? Yeah, Ibrahim, Evaris, Asha, Peter.
Hi, Jara. Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
So the question is how and what you can do from your perspective. I know you are investor relation. So how, from your perspective, what you can do to change the financial system and investment system, for instance?
Wow, that's quite a
yeah.
That's quite a big and a grand question you're asking. I think personally, I mean, I work in investor relations, and yes, I can acknowledge the fact that I haven't seen many female founders in biotech. It's quite rare. Although lately there is more change. There is more and more women who are taking the jump and have good, not only ideas, but manage to get investments in for the research that they have done. So I do see a positive shift. Yeah, I think, yeah, it comes down to advocating, right? Ensuring that the movement continues to grow with supporters of the calls that you are already have kickstarted with the European Commission. I think this is one of the most direct ways in changing how things work in corporate finance through governmental organizations and raising the concerns there and making sure that the movement grows. And there are more people who are seeing that this has to change. And I think this is one of the best things you can do to attempt to change things for, in this case, I would say women, but also minority groups, for example, who are also underrepresented in this area. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you, Asia. Yeah, Peter, you are doing research in the accelerator system.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm looking into the role of venture builders, venture studios, and accelerators, and how they can foster entrepreneurship innovation. Probably what I could say is that they should just, I don't know, show best practices. For example, also advocating what Aisha just said, that there are definitely women out there who are like willing to go the extra mile in founding a company. And it's just not about raising a lot of money or having the biggest exit, I would say. It's probably also focusing on other topics related to, I don't know, social impact or society. It's just not, in my point of view, about having the biggest IPO. So probably the mindset has to change a little bit from different kind of investors as well.
Yeah. So we are going to the investment canvas. So I created this canvas coming from all the investors, which kind of information they need, only looking at the Excel first, because always first they look at the Excel, with which kind of information they need to make the decision to continue the conversation with the project or startup organization. So always they're asking about, okay, company details, for even website, it's super important. They look how it looks, the website. If they see a strange website, this is not possible to make business. So it's really important, the website, even if, the branding. So the description, what it's doing, and traction indicators. So how many customers do you have? How much money, the income, everything like makes how healthy is the company. Because usually they invest in how healthy is the company, and they have already the points. I am investing if you have already 1 million revenue every year, or I am investing when I have 10K revenue every year. They have already their own KPIs for themselves to make the decision. So this is very clear if, I will invest or it's not for me, because I am in the category of you have already 5 million euros revenue per year. That's why it's for them important to make the yes or no. So that's why for you it's very important to know which type of investor you are talking to. So after there is the more financial information. So they want to know if it was before some investors, if it's already you have some investors on board or not, and how much they were investing before. If you have, no, I have only me, I invest, so that's it, you have to put there, only me, like friends and family or my own money. So the other point they are interested to know if you have another funding strategies. For instance, if you have public grants, public funding, or you have other type of, okay, I will invest with Kickstarter, or I will get the funding from customers, based only on customers funding. If you have customers, you can find your own company, but you have to add here. The other point they want to have information about finance is the company valuation. If you have this done or not, there are different methodologies depending on the type of business. So this one is better if you can do it with an expert in finance, because if it's digital tools, platforms, SaaS, completely different type of how you calculate the valuation. Like if a classical business like a bakery, you know, completely different as well. You have investors investing in any kind of areas, has not to be only innovation, but the valuation is completely different depending on the type of business you are. And it's nice always to compare different type of valuation options, you know, like cash flows or volatility or more probability. So this is good to have the different valuations based on different type of calculations. So the other is the investment. So it's the, okay, now we are talking about the conditions, you know. Okay, I need $500,000 and I don't want to give equity, you know, something like this. But this is what you have to think about before you are going to investor, is to see as well, what do you want to have? And if the investor, they accept this type of conditions or no, because maybe they prefer revenue sharing investment. They want to have like, it's a loan, convertible loan, or they are only in equity. So they have, the investors, they have their own preferences as well. So this is to see if you match together, you know, or maybe if they like you or something, if they want to negotiate the conditions, usually they are not using this with you, you know, like that's why like you have to do your homework on which kind of conditions you prefer. As well, in the case of equity, you have to think, okay, how much equity I want to give away to this investor. You know, if you are asking for $500,000 or 1 million or 10K or 1K, okay, how much equity you want for this money? You know, and here is the control of your company as well. You know, it's not only equity and it's a number, it means power. The equity means power. It's not only money, it's power, it's decision making, it's someone who can tell you, I don't like this color, why you change to the other color, why you are doing your company in this way. So that's why it's very important, like with your investor, you know each other and you will be like friends, or at least has to be, because you are dealing with a lot of conversations, decision makings all the time. If they are in your board of investment as a shareholder, you will have to talk a lot, you know, and very tough conversation. So here is like, when you choose an investor, you have to be super sure if you like this investor as well, and if you can discuss with them, you know, and if they understand you. So this is very critical, because there are a lot of mess up going on because this reason. So the other is like, what will you use your investment for? You know, like, okay, you are asking for $500,000 or 1K or 2 million or 20 million, but you have to know, you have to have a plan, you know, for what you are using this money. Like, you are using this money to buy an office building as an investment as well, or furniture, or to create a new app, or to create your app in mobile app, not only web, or to get 20 employees, or for doing marketing. You know, you have to know why you need this money and how you will use this money. So this is the part of investment. So the other boxes are investors, you know, and here is like, what type of investor do you prefer? Like, if they give you money and they don't care about you or the company, or there is like, no, I want an investor like they take care of me all the time, like I can call you every day, you know, like, or you want an investor like they have money but as well network in the industry, or like it was a former entrepreneur, you know, like they can help you and coach you. So I think this is very important for you to understand which kind of investor. It's not only, I need money and that's all. No. If you want to have a successful investment, you have to have a match with the investor. So first you have to understand, what do you need? And then, okay, then I have to look for an investor with these conditions. The other part is which kind of relationship do you want to have with their investor? So you have to know this as well. And this is part of, as well, somehow emotional intelligence, to say, okay, I need this as an investor, you know, and then you explain to them, okay, I prefer to do, I think it's the doctor again. So I think I prefer to do the things in this way. Are you okay with this? You know, this type of conversation to avoid conflict in the future is very important. So the other is like, are you making return of investment or other benefits for your investor? And here is when the impact is coming, you know, like, okay, we plan to have this growth, you know, depending on the ROI of the exit. If you think, okay, I prefer revenue sharing, like as soon as I have income or benefits, or now like I have income and benefits, I share with you 5% of my monthly revenues with you, you know, and this is the value I can give you, not 10 years later, but now, next month, I can give you already some money back, you know, depending on the type of how you negotiate the investment. But here is very important, like the other benefits. Maybe you have with your company, I don't know, you are doing t-shirts, so you can give away a t-shirt to your investor, you know, or you are organizing trips, or you are creating an app for hospitals or for education, so you can have preference to give this app or these services to your investor companies or family or network, you know, like what are the other benefits you can provide to the investors, because this could create a better relationship with them, you know, like keep going with the conversation, like as well in the which kind of relationship you want to have with them, like, okay, do you want like to send an email to them about the progress every month or every 6 months or every year, you know, what is the conversation you are keeping with them, like, hey, I am here, I am important, I want to share with you, you know, you have to build this relationship with the investor. So what is important for you if you want to invest, or, you know, if you want to receive investment? And I think Asia like is super expert in investment. She can explain more about the canvas or what is important for investors when you invest, or when you invest in innovation. So that could be interesting to know from your side, what is important for you, you know? Peter, Ibrahim, Evariste, Cristina, Asia.
Yeah, probably I can start. I think when investing, I think the most important thing is really the team. Over an idea, I would say, probably the experience or different skill sets of the co-founders, maybe coming from tech, other one from business, and the third one probably, I don't know, focus on a specific industry. Could be, I don't know, medicine or bio. I don't know. And when I would look for an investor, I would definitely look into a fit on, I don't know, strategic part, but also cultural and emotional, so that there's like a really honest relationship and no kind of typical principal agent problem, I would say. And that they like really trust each other and committing services, money, and support.
Okay, hey, we can continue because it's time already. So what is the intersection between innovation, entrepreneurship, and investment? So this is important to know where all this is coming from. So if we have ideas and we create a company, no, a new venture.
Yeah, I just wanted to come back on the previous slide just to
Okay.
show. I think there's a couple of things. There's a lot of things important, obviously, when you want to raise money, and but I think there's 4 key things. I think that have a direct impact on whether you will be successful or not in raising any amount out there. I think personally for me, when someone is presenting their own slide deck, I think the people you have on board as a management team, even if it's just a startup, most of the startups have quite a young entrepreneurs that are quite young, and it's good that they pay attention to who are you surrounding yourself with in your own leadership team. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3 people, but still making a good impression there is extremely important. Then I think the second thing is when it comes to investor decks, I think you touched upon this already, the equity story that you have. So what type of value you're bringing is extremely important. And then what is also important is when you present your equity story is also to look into the future, probably 3 to 5 years, which is what most investors are looking at, like what is the value that the company is going to bring within 3 and 5 years from now. And so you cannot just stick to presenting a vision, but you really have to have some concrete milestones, which you need to pay attention to, and I guess also present which milestones in the future you are targeting. And yeah, the last point I think you already mentioned, and we call it the use of net proceeds. What are you going to do with the money that they will give you? And one of the things that people sometimes forget is when you use external companies or brokers to help you find an investor, they usually also want to have a piece of the cake. In the end, the money that you're raising at the end, there's other costs that you are making that have nothing to do with the future, but simply executing on the transaction.
Yeah.
That's it from my side.
Yeah, super helpful, Asia. Thank you very much. I think everyone was taking notes. So here in the intersection, you can see like investment is needed, whatever investment is coming from, even if it's public grants or own money or friends and family or venture capital and business angels. What is making is to bring this to the market successfully. Because if you have little money, you cannot perform into the market the same way like if you have 2 million. And here is the impact is less. So what is investment doing is selecting which ideas they will be successful and which kind of value we are bringing to the market. And I think this is very important because innovation is bringing value through creativity. So the investors really make the decision which kind of value is going to be there and increasing the impact, and could be negative or positive. But this is the decision I think the investors and everyone in the system has to understand. More money they have or more investment, one specific idea or project or startup, more this will be the impact we will have in the market. And investment could be for growth, for a scale up, but maybe not in some cases for working capital. But we have to be super clear, like we have to understand if the investor, they want to invest for growth, for a scaling up, or only to start and kick off the company. So my question for you is now, how do you define impact? Because there are thousands of definitions of impact. You know, if you think, okay, I will invest here, you know, how do you define impact at that level of industry impact or sustainability impact? I know it's difficult. So we can go to the next one. Maybe we can do it at the end. So investment decisions shape our future. And this is how powerful these decisions are so important. So that's why I created this kind of integrated reporting for investment, to have these questions when you are investing, or inside corporates, or as a startup even, which time, in which idea I will invest my time and how, is to think as well about, okay, one of the things is the typical financial reporting. You know, everyone knows what are the economic benefits of this company and how much. But the other is to have a sustainability reporting, to say, this idea, this startup, this project, what is the impact to our planet of this, of every part of this idea? It's not only about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals are represented there, but as well the real impact we are bringing with this. So the other is the society and industry impact reporting. This startup, this idea, they are making a change in the supply chain of the industry, in the value chain of the industry. The impact of this idea, what is making them like change the way of working or operating or doing research or doing business. So what is the impact in the society? They change values. You know, the delivery apps, they change a lot of values in our society. Like they want to, everything is easy to do from home, from our mobile app. This change as well how we are living. And all these questions, they were not asked when someone were investing in the delivery. Ah, it's super cool, I ordered here and they bring me food and that's all. Well, no, that's all is not there. Like we change how we are living and how we are thinking and how the values of our society. So as well, they change the restaurants and everything. So is the way we want to have this change or not, and how much is the impact? And as well, if you have another idea, you can invest or prototype or yourself. So how is this comparison? You know, and which kind of impact you want to have? Is positive, is negative, you know? This way of thinking is very important. The other, because then you have to know the industry you are investing in. So the other is the future reporting. First is like, okay, which kind of future I want to have? But is this idea and technology is making a future I want to live in? Is shaping and changing the future in a way? And this question has to be there. We cannot accept whatever idea. We have to think for our future generations. We have to think about how we are shaping our society with this, you know, like everything digital, everyone has our data, you know, in the health system, and the government with, you know, like now with China is a clear example of, they know you where you are, how you are working, you know, with this face recognition, and they can link this data to your health system and to your tax system, you know. So do we want to have this kind of control of ourselves or not? If then, if you can invest in projects, research, in startups, in side companies related to this or not, you know. And this is very important because the decisions we are making now is impacting our future in many senses. So that's why it's very important to think in this process. and the power of investment to to acknowledge this. So this is the last slide, and the question for you, that this is tough, but this is very important, is what kind of future do you want to have? And then when you are thinking at that level is when you can make decisions better for the future for our planet, but as well from our society perspective. Someone wants to be a philosopher? No? And I think this question is very nice as well for the storytelling for your project. You know, when you have to explain for a grant proposal for an investor, this emotional storytelling of why you are doing this, you can relate to the impact, because the impact is the why. You know, when you are working with partners in collaboration to make this happen, like the motivation is coming from why you are doing this. And if you are capable to have your story with the future you want to have, or with the impact you have in the planet, or in the industry, or the society, not only economic impact, this is the story, you know, the storytelling, the motivation for everyone in your organization. So if not, we are done. So the question, well, you have the book, it's in pre-order already. And we explain there in the book everything about collaboration and as well impact and leadership. And the question for you now at the end of the webinar is, what is the most important thing did you learn today? And the other is, what is the most challenging part for you to think of the future investment and innovation? Yeah, Evarist, Ibrahim, Peter, Asha.
Probably that there's still a huge gap between male and female entrepreneurship, especially when it comes to funding. That the gap is really, really huge. And yeah, how we could prepare a better system, a better European ecosystem to tackle issues, that we are more collaborative, doing something for the planet and society, and not just focusing on the financial outcomes.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Asha, Evarist, Ibrahim.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for me, the most important thing which I've learned today is why is it necessary to engage the collaboration with investors, and how to make it. So I mean, how to behave, yeah, while making that collaboration with investors. That's the most important thing which I've learned today. The most challenging part for the future, okay, I will say at two scales. The first one is at the local level in my ecosystem, yeah, in Africa, and in the most in the country which has been affected by the war for many years now. Yeah, it started when I was in the primary school, but now I'm graduating my master's. So, but the war still there. So it is quite difficult here to start something which can make change of the community under unorganized national structures. Yeah, so the government politics is not yet well structured, and it's not yet mature. Yeah, yeah. So that is at the local level, but at the international level, at the global level, it is that we have on one side people who want to get a lot of money, and on the other side, we have people who want to conserve nature. So yeah, it is being like like a fight, yeah, among those people. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Evariste.